Hi guys, it's Sandy with Crafty Stamp Co. And today I am sharing a card made with one of the new stamp sets called Wings and Wishes from the July 2026 Crafty Crew Kit. This ordering window opens on June 1st and closes June 15th. So it's the only time period you're going to be able to get this stamp set. The shipping will be on July 5th. Now, non-subscription price, which reflects a 15% discount off of retail prices, is $48.02 plus shipping. And your subscriber price, which is a bi-monthly subscription, offers a 25% discount off of retail prices. It includes an embellishment plus a code for 10% off your non-subscription orders. And that is $42.36 plus shipping. All right, let's get started. All right, I have my meadow stamped out and cut out, and I'm going to start on her skin. So the Copic colors that I am using are E000, E00, E11, and then R20 for her little cheeks. Now, when I color, I prefer to use my lightest color to wet that entire background of where I'm coloring, because it just really helps me blend in my darker colors. So I will start with the 000, go into the 00, and then do just a little bit more shading with the E11. For her little skirt, I'm going to do it in two different colors. So this bottom layer here, I'm going to be using BG11, BG13, and BG15. Now the top part of her skirt is going to be a pinkish color. So for that, I am using RV10, RV00, and RV13. And I'm also using my RV10 to kind of touch up some of those layers in that lower level that have that aqua color, just to kind of tie in a little bit of the pinkish color. Now moving on to the wings, I'm going to be using some of the colors that I used in the skirt. So in different areas on those wings, I'm going to be using the BG11, the BG13, and the BG15 again. And I'm just going to kind of pick and choose which one of those little spaces I'm going to put those colors in. Now the purple combination that I'm using for those little areas is BV00, BV02, and BV04. For the orange areas, I'll be using Y32 and YR21. Now there are just a few areas that I did with that lightish colored pink that I've got on the skirt, so I will color those in with RV10, RV00, and RV13. Now I really wanted to make those wings pop, so staying in that same color category, I used RV21, RV13, and RV14. And that just is kind of a deeper pink, similar to the top of her skirt. Now for the little leaves and stems in her bouquet, I used the pattern paper to kind of help me select my colors. And I am using YG05 and YG25. Now the rest of the bouquet, I am just using all of the colors that I used in her little wings, just to kind of fill in those little spaces. That is super easy to color. I don't spend a lot of time or anything. I just do a lot of dotting with the tip of my marker and just kind of fill in the spaces. Now for her hair, I am using yellow, and again, I'm using my pattern paper kind of to select those colors. And I will be using Y11 as my lightest, Y21, as my mid shade and Y23 as my darker shade. Now, when I do Meadow's hair, I like to break it up in little chunks. And so I usually start with the bangs and the front part of her hair, and then I just work around her little head from there. Now that I have her all colored up, it's time to start working on the card base. So as you can see, I have used the pattern paper that comes with the kit. I've used one of the really vibrant alcohol ink ones. And I have cut my largest piece to 4 by 5 1/4. I've got that glued down on some kind of a blue shimmer paper. And then I used an arch die to cut out an arch of a white shimmer paper. And then I went back to that beautiful pattern paper and cut another arch and kind of laid it in there. Now, with this kit, you also have the option to buy this die set. And it is separate from the kit, but I do believe there will be a 15% discount when you put it in your cart if you purchase the kit. So you can't really tell on the pattern paper, but there are some little gold specks in that alcohol ink thing. So I thought it would be really pretty to take my like a metallic gold paper and cut out a few of the butterflies. Now I have cut bits and pieces off of some of them just to kind of fill in those void spaces. And I will just go ahead and glue those with some liquid glue and place them on my card base. Had I been thinking prior to cutting these out, I would have put a sheet of double-sided adhesive, double-sided adhesive, and then cut them out. That just makes it so much easier for gluing these really fine pieces on card bases. And I do use that a lot when I'm doing paper piecing. I like to add dimension to my cards, so I am going to pop up Little Miss Meadow here. I'm going to put some foam dots on the back of her. Once I peel off that protective paper, I will also put a spot of glue on each one of those little things. And the reason I do this is it gives me a little bit of a barrier between that adhesive on the foam dots and the card base. That way I can kind of wiggle it around and push and pull it into the right spot before it gets permanently adhered to the card. Now, I like a little bit of extra bling on my cards, and I'm pretty sure Meadow likes it too. So I'll go ahead and just glue down some little sparkle spots in random spots on the inside oval. Rather than putting a sentiment on the front of my card, I decided to do it on the inside. So I've got my card front applied to a card base, and now I've got my sentiment stamped on a piece of white cardstock that is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to glue that to the inside of my card. Now I generally do this on all of my card just because I feel like the front has so many layers on it that that back piece really needs to be beefed up a little bit or else it feels kind of cheesy. And that pretty much does it for this card. I think she turned out so beautiful. Of course, with that beautiful patterned paper and those die cut little butterflies, how could she not? All right, guys. Make sure you get in that order window June 1st through the 15th. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. You can also follow me on Instagram at Sandy Cogdell or on my blog, sandycogdelldesigns.com. All right. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little bit of time with me today. Bye-bye.